Welcome back to another episode of Credit Union Cowboy. Today, I am honored to have one of our newest team members, Maddie, who does all of our social media. And today, we're going to talk about what she looks for in a credit union and how she does her finances. Welcome, Maddie.
Hi.
So glad to have you. And trust me, so glad to have you as part of our team. You're awesome. So I know you're young. What do you look for, or what did you look for when looking for a financial institution for the first time to do your banking?
Basically, anybody who just made me feel comfortable and comfortable, ask questions. Since I am younger, I will have those. So just making sure someone just really tries to help me out, makes me feel comfortable with where I am. People who are super friendly, because that's my biggest thing, to feel comfortable. And then I also go off of a lot of recommendations other people have. So it just makes me feel better about the whole situation to make sure I know what I'm doing.
Well, that's great advice. I mean, that's kind of what we strive to do too. I hope, all of our team members, we want to be here. We want to make this as an easy, friendly transaction as we can do for our members so that they're comfortable. They can come to us. So what do you like, or what do you look for in digital with a financial institution? Mobile banking, if you can do everything on your phone, that type of stuff, is a branch important to you, or a physical branch, or is your phone or your laptop, whatever you're doing things on, what's more important to you?
Well, for me, I like anything that's mobile just because it's more convenient and I think it's easier. So any type of financial institution that has a modernized app, I personally like using those just because it just makes it easier, I guess, for me to understand, or if I'm looking for something specific. And I also think with people my age, we don't like going into places and having to ask a bunch of questions. We'd rather just figure it out by ourselves. And the apps do that a lot. That's what we're used to. So, yeah.
No, that's great. I mean, that's what we're looking for, is how to create our products and services to your generation.
Mm-hmm.
So when you first started here, you told me about something, and I'm curious as to how you learned how to do this, because at your age, very few people that I've talked to have done what you've done, and that's buy a car.
Mm-hmm.
So can you give me some insights on how you researched that, how you learned to do that, and what the whole process was like?
Well, I can't lie. A lot of the help that I got was from my dad because he works at a dealership. So my family's in car business and stuff, so it's just easier for me to figure out things that way. But for me personally, it was mostly doing a lot of research on different dealerships and what they do. I mean, obviously I did have a lot of questions because I've never done it before by myself. So I've always had someone go with me just in case I didn't mess anything up. Basically, I went on a bunch of different websites that people recommended to me. And I obviously, asked my dad, compared screenshots and everything. And then I found out that getting a newer car was, cheaper than getting a used car, which I thought was weird. But he told me everything about that and why that is. Really, I just went in, and the people there were super friendly with me, and they were making sure I understood what I didn't really know how the payments and things like that worked, or what it ran through. So they kind of explained how they do it that way too. So really, it was just more of me, like I said, never doing it before, them helping me figuring it out. And then I just kind of went with the steps that they gave me. And it was actually a lot easier than most people make it seem. So that's what made me feel the most comfortable with the situation that I made with the car I have now. Just because, they just helped me a lot. So I don't want to take credit that I just did all of it by myself. I definitely needed help, but they did make it really easy for me. And it's really easy. So.
Well, you hit upon one thing that I'm curious about, as different generations do this different ways.
Mm-hmm.
What sites did you go to research on what you wanted to buy, what dealerships? Where did you go to do this?
A lot of apps that they have nowadays for things like researching, you can get houses, apartments, cars. They always make it almost like a dating website. So they'll have it popped up on the screen, and they'll have if you like it or if you don't. And then if you do, it goes in and it shows like all the information on it. It's just super easy. Like, and that's what I like. So I don't want to get into like super complicated stuff and then get confused and overwhelmed. One of the apps that I used was Auto Trader, which was recommended to me by my dad. And then that was kind of the one I mostly stuck to because it was the one that I felt like I could use the best and understand the most without feeling confused. Other than that, I would go on like my car that I wanted specifically. I went on that dealership's website and just kind of browsed through there, just kind of what was local. But the ones that I found that were like you can have cars delivered to you and things like that, it was more of those just because it was more of a um, broader selection of stuff.
I'm curious, when you got your first bank account, how did you research to find out who you wanted to bank with?
I actually, the first banking that I went on, I actually found it off of TikTok. Everybody in my age range was using it, and obviously I was new to the whole thing because I just got my first job, like, and things like that. And a lot of popular social media influencers were on TikTok, like, "Hey, I use this account," and it was just a strict like online like banking thing. It was an app that you downloaded. So that's kind of like what I started using at first. And I actually used that for quite a long time just because it was just so easy to use. The bank itself wasn't physical, so it was just a strict online. So yeah, that's what I was comfortable with using. And I actually probably stopped using that probably like a year ago. So from about, I want to say 15-ish till last year. I was using it for a while. But yeah, that's how I discovered it is TikTok.
That's great information. As the research I've done over the past few years, definitely your age group is researching things differently than what I research things. But that's not to say I haven't learned from your generation on how to research things too, because different platforms like TikTok and such, those definitely have value for research purposes as well as entertainment purposes. So that, like I said, very interesting to know and to deep dive into that on exactly how you found your first institution to bank with. So let me ask you this: going forward, what are you going to start looking for? Because you're going to start looking for a house at some point. You're going to, I know it sounds real strange at your age, but you're going to start looking for retirement accounts, different types of checking accounts or money market accounts. What do you think you're going to be looking for, and what would you look for in a financial institution, hypothetically moving yourself 10 years ahead from now?
Well, for me, I am more of an online person, so I would probably use online banking somehow. But I mean, if there's a physical location, I don't mind obviously going in if I do have questions because you can't figure out everything sometimes off of apps.
I know when I was your age, I was in college. The most important things to me were, did I have gas money? Did I have beer money? Pizza money? And where was I going to sleep that night if I wasn't going home?
Yeah.
Those were kind of some of the most important things. Yeah, get into class. Yeah, okay, yeah, I got to class. Survived it on coffee, Mountain Dew, and Hostess apple pies. Sugar and caffeine rush, we're good to go.
Yeah.
But I didn't, and this was one of my big mistakes at your age, I didn't really think about savings. So I'm curious, your generation and you in particular, savings accounts, saving for the future, saving for the car, for a down payment, what have you, a vacation. I know my niece, a little bit older than you, I think she's 26, but she saves to travel and she does a lot of traveling. So I'm curious your point of view on that and your friend's point of view on savings.
So I think saving is super important because I have a horrible spending problem. So I actually got this idea from my friends. So whenever we get our paydays or whatever, we have that specific amount that we'll take out a week or every 2 weeks or and whatever you get paid. And then we'll put that away, and then we'll have that small amount for the spending when we go buy things we don't need. And then that rest that we just keep to ourselves. And keep building on that so we can be successful in the future, not blowing our money on everything, because it's really hard to not do that right now. So yeah, that's probably how we look on it. Is just like it's important. I think everybody should do that, or just have some kind of plan for saving.
No, that's great. I mean, you make my heart warm with saying that, because so many people don't want to save. And, that's where our financial counselors come into play, because people do get themselves into a bind and come in, and we talk to them to try to work out budgets for them so that they can get their head back above water instead of being underwater trying to live paycheck to paycheck. So,
Yeah.
like I said, it makes my heart warm to hear you say that, and about your generation too. That is really great to hear.
Yeah. Well, a lot of us have problems with not thinking about how things can affect us later on. It could be a week from now, like some emergency could come up and you have no idea what to do because you went out partying last weekend and all your money's gone. So a lot of it with, like, I know for me, for example, is whenever the money was being spent at first hand, I was not thinking about, like, what it would do to me, like, in the future or in the long run. All it mattered was that I had it, like, now. And I looked back on that a lot because I had like a shopper's guilt almost. So after I would go buy something, spend who knows how much money, I would instantly regret it as soon as like the newness wore off. And I was like, why did I do this? I could have saved that. So that was like one of the main things that I like carried with me to keep me from spending and to save, is just remembering that, like, you didn't need this. So I think that's how it is for a lot of people. I know for my age or people that I'm friends with, we all can agree on that. So
that is really great advice, and I hope people watching this listen to what you say, because, like I said, a lot of people need to hear that.
It's important.
It is very important, because, like you said, you don't know what's going to happen next week. You don't know what's going to happen tomorrow, 2 years from now, and the studies show well over 50% of the U.S. population could not afford a $400 hit to their budget today. That would just throw them completely underwater doing something like that. So to hear you saying that gives me renewed hope. So, well, Madison, thank you so much for being here today. I really appreciate it. You have become an amazing team member. You guys have not checked out the Enbright TikTok or social medias. Madison has been doing an amazing job over the last couple of months with what she's been doing and her content that she's been providing. So please, if you haven't done it, log in, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, check out her videos, because, like I said, she has been doing an amazing job. I want to say thank you to everybody for watching us. Appreciate everybody who tunes in, who likes and gives us likes on social media with it, goes to our YouTube page. We've got a YouTube page for Enbright Credit Union as well as Credit Union Cowboy. Please look them up, like them, comment. We appreciate it. Everybody have a great day. Thank you so much for tuning in.